Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today we're going to be talking about a new challenge. Yes! Yippee! If you are confused at what you're looking at right now, this is what a YouTube behind the scenes looks like. I just recently on the Wolfeei But More channel, which is my third channel, I was going to say third channel, did a new type of challenge. It's not like new, but it's relatively new, and I think it's a fun interactive thing we can do together. So what I did here is I have a randomizer wheel thing that you may have seen before, and it spun a select amount of people randomly, and from that I had to pretend like those were signups and turn that into an event roster. This is a very chaotic environment, which is very hard to work with, but I decided, well, I can turn this into like a game that you guys can participate in. So that's what I did. When we look over here, we have the MCC Team Making Challenge 1 from June 18th, 2025. Now I'm recording this on 1 a.m. So the night before this goes up, I guess, technically. But this will be a thing that I will try to do semi-regularly, maybe weekly, maybe whatever, kind of depending on how, you know, people respond to it, if it's a fun thing to do or if it's going to, like, clutter the MCC Reddit and people hate it. We'll see. But this will be the first rendition of the MCC Team Making Challenge. And what I have done is I have grabbed a selection of 50 random MCC participants with a twist to an extent. So I tried to grab like a wide cast variety, you know, some regular MCC participants, some irregular MCC participants, and even some new ones, you know. Here are two examples. I think these are the only new people that are on here. I could be wrong. But I wanted to try to give this pool, so this is going to be a tier list that is linked in the description of this video. I wanted to give you a pool of creators to work with to make your own teams. And the thing that I think would be interesting to see is to see how different people interpret the approach to making teams. What would you do for this, and how would you turn this group of people into cohesive teams? I'm curious. Also, I tried to give a good amount of higher end players and lower end players. So if you are someone who likes more of a casual roster, you can bench a bunch of the high end players. If you like a more competitive roster, you can bench a bunch of the low end players. And hopefully this will be something fun for you to interact with, something fun to engage with. Also, in case any creators are watching, I semi-randomly tried to pick the group of people. I tried to pick hermits, but not all hermits. Top frags, but not all top frags. People from different areas, but not all from the same area, if that makes sense, right? So if you're not on here, you'll be on here probably at some point in the future. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna try to attempt this now. So if you want to try this challenge yourself without any influence from me, just heads up right now, I'm going to start working on this soon. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. You've gotten your warning. Link in the description if you want to try this yourself. So let's see what I did, right? I gave the class, I guess, a wide random selection of people to work with, and from this we're gonna try to make some teams happen, right? You have some lifesteal people like SB, Hannah's here too, so you can't make a lifesteal team, at least not a fair one. But you have some people to work with that could make some lifesteal, type of team, especially for the lifesteal audience, which has recently grown. It would be very interesting. What I'm going to start off with is Doc M77, who is a highly requested newcomer, of course, and try to make him work on a team. I think the default agreed upon approach was like Rendog, right? And you could even throw Etho on there. Considering this roster, that would probably be pink, so we're going to put them on pink. I think the most common person that you see people put with them is Feinberg, who is on this list. Are we going to do that? I don't know. I mean, we could, technically, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. So we have Rendog, Doc, and Etho together. They're going to get a top frag, right? That is an S tier, will be placed on that team, for sure. For sure, we get an S tier on that team. For the rest, I mean, I see Lizzie here. Lizzie with Joel, of course, is fun. If that works, which, I mean, Lizzie and Joel together will work, of course. But more so if we can make something happen with that combination. I also know people really want to see Shane and Haley together. However, I actually don't know if you can balance that with this roster. Because in the instance that we put like Feinberg here, can we balance out Shane and Haley fairly enough? Because Haley as a second frag could be really strong. Possibly, right? I'm going to have Feinberg just chill here for now. So we're going to keep that as is right now. For now, we'll keep that Chillington Nation like that. I see Tina as well. I would like to have Tina in. I would like to pair her up with Pangy and or Zam. Her and Hannah work really well, but from hanging out with them in person, I think that would make for a very fun combo. I think that would be a very energetic team as well to have at least Tina and Zam together. And I kind of want to throw Toby on there too. So if we do that for like red, I think that'd be a pretty good red team announcement. We'll have Zam, Toby, and Tina. I think would be a phenomenal start to a team. Foolish would be super sick here too. I mean, that would be so fire. I would love that. That'd be sick. I think that's relatively fair. I mean, Zam, I think in MCC wouldn't be like super scary. I don't think he'd be insane. Also, of course, Fruit's there, but I think Fruit and Zam would be... I think Zam as a second frag is too good. I think as a top frag, it's okay. I don't think he's like an S tier. I think he'd be like A-, maybe like a 15th on debut. If he tries, he could contend for 10th maybe. Similar to, I guess, a lot of the like that tier of player, right? I mean, Haley would be in that, and a lot of others. Like I think around like Orion Sound, maybe slightly above Orion Sound type of level player. So yeah, I like that. That's a good opening team there. Then, what else do I want to do? As much as it's happened already, I think Ant Venom and Jordan's a pretty nice classic combination. I think that'd be a fun one to work with. Who would I put with them though? I'm trying to think of what would be a fun combo to put with them without being too good, right? I don't know if you could actually make much work with that. And see, this is where, I mean, Dantidium would be cool. I'll put Dantidium there for now. It's just kind of an example of like, hey, sometimes you see a combo that you think could be fun, and then you look at the roster and you're like, but I'm sure you can make something work. Because they need like a decent-ish player, right? You could even throw SB on there. Probably. Is that balanced? That might be a little strong. That might be a little too strong. Because Dantidium is not a bottom frag. It's like a third frag. So we need like well, SB could be bad. We don't know. He hasn't played in so long, right? He might be washed. You never know. But we'll hold off on that one for now. I think Cookie God's actually a better shout. Cookie God would be like a... depends on the day. I think he would, on average, be like second frag, third. He could top frag maybe, but like it's not by a lot. I think that's fine. That's okay for now. Okay. Then, or Jimmy would have been a good fit there too. Jimmy with Dan would be fun, I think. Could also put Dan here, and then Jimmy here. I mean, I like the look of that. I do like the look of that. I like this a lot. This would definitely be like Cyan, I think, but I'm a big fan. Okay. Then I would like to include John and Janet. As much as it would be like John and Janet with purpled, of course, would work, but that's kind of not boring. It's just repetitive. So we might hold off on that combination. We'll throw Abe there though. Abe with Janet and John, and then we give him an S tier. Maybe give him Shane for a change. You know, maybe Shane there could be fun. Yeah, actually, I might do that. I might put Fire Breathman on the team. I think he'd have a good time. I think he'd like that. We'll put them on... Oh, they've already been on orange recently, to an extent, right? Blue. Yeah, we'll keep them on blue. We don't have Simmers in this one, I think, so we'll keep them on blue. Okay. Then, balancing is the main concern. I know Phil and Etoile wanted the team. We can work with that. Phil and Etoile would be green, probably, right? Fit just teamed with Phil, but it's not like they shouldn't be able to team again, right? Phil hasn't teamed with Sneeg recently, though, and Sneeg and Etoile might know each other, so that could be fun. Give him, like, Ross. Is that balanced? Might be a little weak. Nah. Etoile locks in. I think it could be good. I think that could be fun. Or, oh wait, Panky's right there. But I like the Sneak and Phil combo. Pangy would be a good person to put there, though. High key. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I liked what we had, but I think Pangy there. This is a good. That's good. I like that. That's cool. We'll still put Sneak in though, right? Just somewhere else. Who would we put with Sneak at this point? From who's remaining? I mean, Connor would be funny, of course. Like a Fruit Sneak Connor would be iconic. I don't know who you would put as the 4th, but that's a fun combination, right? If we get like Fruit Connor eats pants and Sneak Snag. In terms of balancing, we are now running into a bit of a wall. Fit MC actually. Wait, that actually is kind of sick. That might not be very balanced, but it's cool. Fruit and Fine's team comparatively are not very fair. I think Fine's getting a little screwed here in terms of balancing. We might have to give him like Martin, but that might be a little too much. I like having the squad that we have there, though. Ren, Doc, and Etho feels like a good combo. But I'm sure there's other people you could throw on to that would make sense, right? So, we'll see. I think Ren and Cleo could also be a good combo. Ren, Cleo, give him Scott, give him a high-end player, and then they're good, like JoJo. That's fun. I like that. And then we've opened up this team to get a bit of a better player, maybe. Would be like Martin, Ollie. Does Ollie know them? I don't know if Ollie would fit there. I mean, I feel like that could work. Well, we'll throw Martin on there. That might be a little too strong, but we can also not give him Feinberg. Feinberg's not really attached to that team specifically, right? I think you can have some wiggle room. I like putting Curry there potentially. Is that more balanced? I think so, because Fine with Martin feels a little unfair compared to like Shane's team. We'll put Curry away on that team. I think that's fine. I don't remember where Curry got, but I think that's could be balanced. It could be pretty balanced. I like that. I like that as a team combo. I would like to include Fine if possible, but I also want to include like SB. Okay, now we get into some interesting territory. What are we gonna do here? Because I'm looking at like Fine could be with like Pearl, Gem, Scar, but then we're getting into repetitive territory again. I think we're gonna get some repeat teammates for Feinberg, but I like the approach of Pearl, Gem with Feinberg, and then giving them X or Scar or Shelby potentially could work there, right? But I like the approach of putting Scar there. I mean, that's just kind of the default approach here. I think X would have been fine, but I think this is good. Who would we put with SB in this instance? I mean, Cookie, Hannah, Shelby, SB would be fun. You wouldn't really be able to fully tie that together. I mean, X did recently team with Hannah, and I think that would be a fun combo still. I think that the audience would enjoy it, at least, right? That would be exciting for the audience. I want to try to avoid like a repetitive team, which is going to be a little bit more difficult with what I have remaining with Ant and Jordan. Assuming I want to run with that, maybe I avoid that. But I think Jordan is probably what the foundation of that team would still look like. If I were to put Purple there, who's obviously a more like requested person to have in rotation for an event like this, if I put Purple there, I could put Purple with Martin and Doc and Etho maybe. How good of a team is that? Compared to the teams, I feel like this team could get a little bit of a buff, but I don't think. I feel like Purple compared to Curry is kind of a big jump. Well, that might be a bit too big of a jump. Maybe put JoJo there and put a different top frag with Scott and Ren and Cleo. Right? Probably. Think so. And then put Curry with Jordan. JoJo there. JoJo Martin. Yeah, that could work. I liked Curry there, but I think JoJo is a bit more of a confident high-end player for MCC standards, right? So I feel like that's decent. I also feel like this Joel and Jimmy team could be a little on the weaker side, but Dainty DM as a third frag should not be underestimated, I will say. We could throw Jimmy somewhere else. Maybe that could be fun, and then give this team Ollie. Ollie's probably a little bit of a more confident player, still works really well with that team. I like that. I like that for sure. I am left with either Shadoon or Purpled to put on the Scott team. I do think Purpled is a bit of a more confident player. I don't know in terms of like vibe if that's like the best approach. Could we put Purpled somewhere else? I like Fruit with that squad he's with though. Purpled with this team would be fine. I mean, maybe Purple does an off day, it would be more balanced. I think Pink could be on the stronger leaning side. However, it does have two very infrequent players. One newcomer and one person who hasn't played since the beginning of Season 4. So, I think it's okay. And then to round it out, you have Curry, Jordan, Jimmy. That's pretty strong. They need like a lower end player. Okay. I think, realistically speaking, your options would be like Michaela, Gucky, Cam, and Eloise. Sniff depends. I think Sniff can be hit or miss, but I think it depends. I think Eloise with Jimmy is a fun mix. Eloise with Jordan, I don't know how that would work in terms of Eloise being a bit more non-family friendly. Same with Michaela. Gucky, I think, depends. Cam depends. Cam and Jimmy, of course, recently teamed. I don't know if Cam is family friendly, considering recently, I mean, he hangs out on Misadventures, I think, right? That feels like an environment that has a lot of family friendly stuff going on, so I might go for that. Also, you know, a more fresh face for MCC. The bench does look like, you know, an unfortunate bench. I feel like there are people on the bench they could easily fit in to the roster if you were so to desire, of course. I also, in terms of realistic MCC approach, I feel like Eloise and Beck are people you will very uncommonly see on the bench, realistically speaking, but it is what it is. This is the draft that I came up with, I think. Am I going to stick to this? Let's see. Red team feels like it could be a little weak, because their top frag is a newcomer. Toby is not a very confident second frag. Foolish has not played in a long time, and Tina is not like the strongest MCC player. So that could be a bit of a weaker team. I think this team you could not fix, quote unquote, but like improve by giving them Gumi over Abe. I think that makes it a little bit more balanced. Yeah, I think that's a bit more balanced. It gives it a bit more of a shot to compete, I would say. Especially if I look at Fruit's team, I think previously that team was a little underbalanced, so this is fine. This team feels like it could be like a little weak, but I like the approach, so I kind of want to stick to it to an extent. Yeah, it's just the red team that I think maybe needs a slight bump upwards in terms of balancing. I think the rest looks pretty good for the most part from at first glance. I like it relatively well. Yeah, probably. I think the rest is fine. What could you do to improve red team? You'd probably take out Foolish. As much as I really want to see that team just cohesively happen, I think this is a really fun team. The foundation of it, though, is Zam and Tina, so you can't really get rid of either of them. You could bench Toby. That feels a little odd, though, and I also don't know who you would put in for benching Toby. How would you do that? Maybe you stick to this. I'm trying to think of, I mean, Beck could be fine. Beck would be decent to put on there. But I feel like that's not I feel like that team might be able to stay as is. The only way that I would adjust it would be to completely overhaul some of the teams again, which I don't want to do. Because I'm thinking like Sneak would be a good fit for red team. But I don't think you should have to do that. I don't think that's a necessary change. So I'm going to keep it as is. We'll have a more for fun leading team. I do think, realistically, in terms of colors, this screams pink more than this. But also, Toby is on pink a lot. So that's fine. Color-wise, would this be accurate? I think... it's hard. I think I cooked up too many like popular teams. I think this is obviously unrealistic for MCC. Unless it's like Ender Cup. I mean, this could be an Ender Cup. You never know. But this is definitely a very, very high yield of popularity in terms of MCC rosters, which is cool. I mean, this would be sick, but it is quite the mix. So this is my interpretation of this challenge. Team making challenge 1 on June 18th, 2025. This is the Wolfeei rendition of it. All right, curious to see what everyone cooks up. Maybe on stream I'll review some of the submissions. I don't think I'll make a video for it unless I want to. Maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I'll if depending on how active this challenge is, maybe I'll make like a top 5 or top 10 roster video and like analyze it or something. I don't know. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.